Hello again. I didn't expect Yosta to speed up the timeline this quickly, but here we go again. This time, I will talk about all my recommended memories that will be coming in the second half of 2025. But before we start, I want to note that I will only use Memorias that were released in 2024 on the JP server. Also, this list won't include the AB collab, and I'm sorry about that. Without any further, let's start then.
行くとユッキー。ああ、だが主様。今だ。これがルカオの裁きだ。
Start with the first Unison Memoria, Ruka SS4. So let's talk about what Unison Memoria is first. Unison Memoria is limited Memoria that can switch between two of their X skill. For example, Ruka SS4 can switch her X skill between fire or dark attack. And Unison Memoria will come with two character in one Memoria, like Ruka SS4 that will come with Yuki. About her X skill, that will provide fire or dark defense down before attack, which makes it easier to nuke damage in battle. And she can grant herself a Mind Eye with SS4 skill like Garnet SS1 skill, which is good, but it will be easier if you use Tamar SS5, Muir SS1, or other members to provide her Mind Eye instead. Her passive can grant herself attack and debuff boost while she's on the front line with Mind Eye buff, which looks good, but somehow I feel that we won't use it that much, because she will be in the backline like all the time, while other members provide buff for her, except you make her buff herself, or use orb skill. Overall, Ruka SS4 is a pretty good DPS in both fire and dark teams, and can be used in score attacks or many other content for a long time until Ruka SS5 comes. Ruka Unison's banner is a limited banner, like I said earlier. And I guess that her banner might be coming around late July to August. So I recommend saving for her if you want a good fire or dark DPS to use. Hibike SS3 is a buffer that focuses on building morale and the odd gauge. Hibike SS3's morale is a buff that increases the party's all stats by +5 and skill 80k by 5%, and can be stacked up to 10 stacks, which her X skill can provide party 2 stacks of morale and fill the odd gauge by 15% per use. In summary, if you used her X skill 5 times, you will get 10 stacks of morale and 150% odd gauge. So it'll take some time to build up full 10 morale stacks. Her Memorias skill can provide 1 ally crit rate and DMG up, which didn't use that much due to her X skill spamming. But it will become handy when you don't have other members to provide crit buff for your team. Her LB0 passive will recover 1 SP when she is in the front line, while have 6 or more morale stacks, which makes her gain more SP to use other skills like her SS1X skill or more. And you can limit break her to LB3 if you really want to gain more OD gauge. Overall, Hibike SS3 is a good Memoria for the content like dungeon that didn't reset her morale stack like totem stack, and you can use her in score attack or boss fight too, but it will take some time to build on full stack morale. So I recommended her for a player who likes or doesn't mind playing in the slow and steady team. Her banner come after Phantom Nodes and Silver Watches event in the JP server, and I guess that her banner might be coming around late August. So feel free to consider rolling for her if you want to. Tsukasa SS4 is a dark element overwriter like Chero SS2, who is a thunder element overwriter. Her X skill can overwrite all enemy dark resist up to 2 stacks like the Chero SS2 too. But since her X skill can buff a hit count to the front line, who is a dark type Memoria, You can use it to gain more DMG for DPS, break for blaster, or odd gauge due to the hit count buff, which makes her X skill really useful and can be used in many ways. And if you want more DMG, you can get dark attack buff from her LB0 passive. Use her Memorias skill, which can buff dark attack to the front line. Or even use her SS1X skill, which can provide party 80k up effect boost too. Overall, Tsukasa is one of the core Memoria for Dark Team, and can use with many skills due to a lot of her Memorias. Her banner comes with Yinksha SS3, who can reduce 15% of enemy HP, and provide them a 2-turn DEF down, but since her X skill can only be used when her SP is below 0, so I recommend for who have her SS1 only. Their banner might be coming around August to September. So I recommend saving for her if you like playing with the Dark Team or Dark DPS. Aina SS2 is a debuffer that can provide the enemy a debuff and gain a lot of odd gauge at the same time. With her X skill, that will provide all enemies a DEF down and gain a hit count buff before attack. The hit count buff will be based on the number of enemies on the field. The fewer enemies on the field, the more hit count added to her X skill. With that, she can gain a lot of OD gauge by the 15 hit attack with her X skill only. But if you want her to gain more hits, you can use Tsukasa SS4 to provide more hit count and overwrite enemy dark resist, which can make Aina gain more odd gauge from that too. You can also use her SS1's X skill to gain 50% OD gauge if you didn't want to use her SS2's X skill on non-weak to dark enemies, because you will gain less OD gauge from the enemy that is not weak to the dark element. And you can use her SS1 or S1 skill to provide the enemy a fragile or exposed for more DMG too. You can also use her LB3's passive to boost her DEF down effect too, if you want to. Overall, Aina SS2 is a great general debuffer that can gain a lot of odd gauge, so she can be used in a lot of teams, even in the future. Her banner might be coming around in September, and comes with Memorias SS2, which is not good in many ways except being cute. So I hope you all get Aina SS2 on this banner. Irene SS2 is a third Memoria that has a critical piercing attack in her X skill. Like her SS1, her X skill can be used when her SP is 0 or higher, and it will be a critical piercing attack. But this time it is a single target attack, and will remove 3 of the enemy's buffs before an attack, which is good for farming, because she can one-shot the enemy in one turn with her X skill. And when you want to level the low-level character, you can put up to 5 characters to farm with her. But if the enemy is too strong to one-shot, you can use her skill to increase her crit DMG or use her SS1 skill to increase hit count for her X skill. And if that's not enough, you can use Yinksha SS1 to buff her instead. You can also use her LB3 passive to increase her crit DMG before an attack too. Overall, Irene SS2 is a good Memoria for farming, and can be used in some boss fights or score attack too. But if you just want to use someone with a critical piercing attack, you can just pick Inori SS2 instead. Her banner might be coming around in September with her event, Irene Redmayne's Casebook, Detective and the Witch of the Forest, and will come with Ritika SS2, which is a healer that can provide the party a debuff guard that can be used against some enemies. But you can focus on getting Irene, or praying for get Irene SS2 from other banner or ticket. So feel free to consider rolling for her.
ルカ、お前が欲しい。皆様、仰せのままに。しかし、そんな我らを邪魔するのは誰かな。信じろ、私の言葉を。
Yuna SS4 is the second Unison Memoria that can be used as a DPS or a break multiplier. Unlike Ruka Unison, her X skill will have only an AoE ice element attack, but it can be switched between the two versions. The 15 SP version, that deals more damage and will provide her a hit count buff during the additional turn, and the 14 SP version, that has a higher devastation rate, and the SP cost will be halved during the additional turn. With these, you can use her as DPS and still do a high break to the enemy. Her skill will provide an extra turn to the front line, which can make her and other party members provide more buffs, since the old skill will only grant an extra turn to herself. Her first LB0's passive will increase the party's Ice ATK up with no condition, which comes in handy in both roles as a DPS or break multiplier. The other LB0's passive will grant her 2 SP, while she is on the front line when battle starts to spam more of her skill. And if you want her to use less SP when using her skill, her LB3's passive will lower all of her SP cost by 2 during the additional turn granted by her, which means you can use her skill at 5 SP, both of her X skill with 13 over 5 SP. Additionally, there's her LB4's passive that will grant her more 5 SP at the start of an additional turn when she's rerunning JP. So I want to note that she might get LB4's passive when she comes to Global 2. Overall, Yuna Unison is a strong Memoria that you might wanna pound her to at least LB3 due to her passive. But with her skill alone is more than enough to make Yuna a really strong character, and you can use it with her SS5 in the future too. Her banner might be coming around late September to October, so I recommend saving to get one copy of her for her skill at least, since the Unison Memoria still can be limit break with SS Shard in the Delanta.
この制服は世を忍ぶための仮の姿。その実態は恐竜の秘伝をお見せしましょう。剣先に凍えてください。
His aim SS4 is an ice element overwriter, making her the third one in the game. Her X skill is like the other element overwriter, it will overwrite all enemy ice resist up to 2 stacks, and provide all enemy DEF down similar to Chero SS2's X skill. But this time, SP cost will be halved during the additional turn granted by her, which can be granted by using her skill that will provide all enemies with a nice DEF down and grant an extra turn to herself. So it will only use 15 SP to provide one layer of all of that. And if you want to use less SP, her LB3 passive will reduce the SP cost by 2 during the additional turn she grants. Also, her LB0 passive will increase the party's Ice ATK by 10% to increase your party's damage. Overall, his aim SS4 is a core Memoria for the Ice team, and there are plenty of good Ice DPS to use, including Yuna Unison. Also, Atsukasa SS5 will come to support the Ice team in the future by providing a large ice field and ice crit rate and EMG up too. Her banner will come with her pupil, Inori SS3, that will nuke the DMG and deal a lot of break with all of her SP. And their banner might be coming around this October. So I recommend focusing on getting his aim first if you want to play with the Ice team or finding support for Yuna Unison. Yuki Unison is the third Unison Memoria coming this year. Just like Ruka Unison, her X skill can switch between a single Dark and Fire attack and inflict a 2-turn fragile and hacked state. The hacked state decreases the enemy's stat by 100 for 2 turns and can't be stacked, making the enemy deal less DMG and take more DMG from us. This enables her to break the enemy's DP and inflict a debuff on them simultaneously. If you want her debuff to last longer, her LB3 passive will extend the debuff she inflicted by 1 more turn. Her Memoria skill will be a passive skill instead of an active skill like the others, which will extend the enemy's breakdown by 1 more turn if their DP is broken by her. The breakdown turn is when you break the enemy's DP, leaving them stunned and unable to act for one turn. This makes her passive skill useful for providing additional buffs and inflicting more debuffs during the 2 turns of the enemy's breakdown. Additionally, you can use it with her SS5 to provide a large dark field and break the enemy simultaneously for the dark team. Both LB0 passives will increase the skill ATK by 10% for dark and fire type members, making her and the party deal more damage. Additionally, Yuki Unison will get LB4 passive when her banner is rerun on the JP server, similar to Unison. Her LB4 passive will grant 5 SP to the front line when she breaks the enemy's DP once per battle, so I'm leaving it up to you whether to limit break her to LB4 or not. Overall, Yuki Unison is a breaker that can also inflict debuffs to the enemy for your main DPS if you don't have a good debuffer like Ama or Kiryu. So it's up to you whether you want to pull for her or not, but I think pulling to get at least one copy of her isn't a bad idea either because of her passive skill. Her banner might be coming around this November, so feel free to consider pulling for her.
この服だと殺し屋に見えにゃい？そうにゃ。花屋でも始めるかにゃ。木枯らしの季節。邪魔すると雨になるん。
Sumomo SS3 is the 4th critical piercing Memoria to arrive on the global server. Her X skill is a single target critical piercing attack that grants her an 80k up before the attack, but results in a 1-turn definition down as a drawback afterward. Additionally, if it is her first time using the X skill, the cost will be halved to 7 SP. This is a powerful trade-off for the drawback, because it allows her to break the enemy's DP first, before building break with just 7 SP. Furthermore, she can also defeat the enemy in the first turn using her X skill. And if the first attack isn't strong enough, her LB3 passive will increase her self-hit count at the start of the battle, while she is in the front line, enabling her first attack to deal more damage. Her passive skill will recover her skill usage once for all of her skills, including her X skill, which means you can spam her X skill to defeat enemies in content like dungeons, art battles, or any content that involves multiple battles without recovering your skill uses. After defeating the enemy, her LB0 will provide her with a morale stack, similar to Hiraji SS3's morale, making her stronger each time she engages in battle. Overall, Sumomo SS3 remains one of the best single target DPS in JP, and is also one of the easiest critical piercing Memoria to use. Her banner comes with her event, with Prayer to Round Happiness, and features her sister, Ichigo SS3, the light DPS who focuses on building totem stacks. Their banner might be coming around late November to December, so I recommend prioritizing getting one copy of Sumomo first, or you can continue pulling until you obtain her LB3 too.
青い環状化計画が発令中ですので、ポカーンとはしていられません。ポカーンとやってやります。K2、出番だよ。ターゲットロックオン。なんかすごいビーム。
AOISS4 will feature a new role, Admiral. So let's talk about what the Admiral role can do. The Admiral role will have one additional skill slot without reversion, change the basic attack into command action, and can only be organized once per team. Her command action will provide the front line with a 1-turn 80k up. In other words, she can't build OG without using an attack skill or orb skill, which is not so bad, thanks to both of her skills. Her passive skill will grant a 100% crit rate to the party, meaning every attack will deal critical damage. Her other skill will provide one ally with an 80k up and crit DMG up, which is especially helpful when you lack a crit buffer like Tama or Higuchi. Moreover, her X skill will fill the odd by 100%, heal the party, and revive the broken member like Tama SS1's X skill. But it can only be used once per battle, which is more than enough to clear content like score attack or similar content. What makes her even better is her pound passive. The LB0 passive will increase party's skill use limit by 1, while the LB1 passive lowers the party's SP cost by 1. This enables your team to use skillfulness orbs that grant 3 SP to the user with 0 SP and use up to 2 times 4 using skill or X skill even faster. Her LB3 passive grants 1 SP to the front line at the start of battle for anyone who wants to 8 SP skill on the first turn. Overall, AOI Admiral is a must-have Memoria to pull for, and everyone should aim for at least LB0 of her. You can also use her SS1X skill for better defense against strong enemies. Her banner comes with Hibike SS3, which can provide a heal regen to the party along with Dark 80k up and Mind Eye for Dark Memoria. And their banner might be coming around late November to December, so saving up to get at least 1 copy of AOI.
いいね。これだけ露出していると不本意地にそうだ。そしてちゃんとは宣言する。倍にこと吹雪。
Hibike SS2 is the last 2 to receive their SS2 Memoria in JP, along with Shiki. Her X skill will deal a single target thunder attack and heal her DP by 30% of DMG dealt with this attack, which seem pointless to heal after an attack. It is really needed because of her skill. Her Memoria skill costs 100% of her DP and fills the odd gauge by 75% on the first use, and 25% in second or more use, which means she can fill the 100% odd gauge with her skill alone, allowing your team to provide buffs and inflict debuffs more easily. If you want to fill the odd gauge further, her LB3 passive will fill 10% of the odd gauge every turn, while she is in the front line and her DP is lower than 50%. Additionally, she will deal more DMG with LB0, which grants her an 80k up, while her DP is below 50%. Overall, Hibike SS2 is a new DPS for the Thunder team, replacing AOI, because you will be using her Admiral instead. However, you can also use her skill with her SS1 to fill the odd gauge and inflict a debuff if you don't have Kiryu or prefer to use other Memoria instead of her. Her banner comes with Shiki SS2, which can provide a hit count, light 80k up, crit rate up, and light crit DMG up for one ally. Their banner might be coming around in December, so it's up to you whether to pull for her or save for the next Memoria. The last Memoria in this video is Ruka SS5, the buffer that focusing on the Diva state. Her X skill provides the party a 5-turn 100% crit rate and DMG into Diva state, which can be used only 4 times per battle. Also, the crit rate and DMG buff cannot stack with other crit buffs, so be cautious about that. A member in the Diva state heals themselves by 30% of their damage dealt and can use their X skill regardless of their remaining uses being 0. This means your team can always go all out with their buff, debuff, and EPS X skill while still in the Diva state. Additionally, her LB0 passive grants the front line 2 SP while the Diva state is active, allowing them to spam more X skills. Her Memoria skill provides 1 ally hit count buff, based on whether the Diva state is active. If the Diva state is active, the buff grants 3 hits, while if it's not, it gives 5 hits instead, which also deal less DMG due to the percentage. Moreover, the buff adds hit count on every attack, making it handy for increasing the odd gauge when used with a normal attack. Also, if you find the 7 SP cost for the buff too high, her LB3 will reduce all SP costs by 2, enabling her to use multiple buffs more easily. Overall, Ruka Diva is one of the must-have Memoria in this second half, much like AOI Admiral, and they can be used together with every team. Additionally, if you have her SS1, you can use her X skill as the finishing attack for the fire team as well. Her banner might be coming around December, or at the end of this year, along with the release of the main story Chapter 5 Part 2. So, prepare and save to obtain at least 1 copy of her. That's all from me, and the 2024 list. there might be some good Memoria that I didn't mention in this video, so feel free to ask or comment in the video if you have a different idea about the 2024 list. Also, if you ask me, will there be a 2025 Memoria recommend video too in the future? Well, that's the story and work for me in the future. Lastly, by the time this video is uploaded, I think the main interlude to Antamur SS4 are coming really soon. So I hope you're all having a good roll in that banner, and in the future too. Bye.